time they were talking to each other. But through group chat, instead of actually speaking to each other. Because I didn't have a phone yet, I didn't think much of this scene, and it didn't occur to me until recently that what I witnessed was actually very alarming. Electronics harming our abilities to communicate in person. Now, after owning a phone for several years, I've watched myself fall into the same trap of electronic communication just as these kids did many years ago. For example, during lunch at school, instead of leaving class with the intention of finding my friends, I often run to my phone instead. This time that I once spent getting to know the people I go to school with has transformed into a time for me to prioritize any text messages I received or what's happening on Snapchat and Instagram. Because we're so committed to it, it's easy to feel like the amount we communicate electronically is normal. But statistically speaking, the numbers are alarmingly high. According to a survey conducted in 2017, about 6 billion text messages are sent each day in the United States. Characterized by its accessibility and quickness, the simplicity of pressing send has blinded us of its effects on us. Whether we want to admit it or not, we've all gotten a text, picked up our phones, read that it was a nagging question or something else we should really respond to, but would really rather avoid and didn't answer the text anyway. Intentional or not, the way we leave questions or conversations unanswered is quite unusual. While doing the same in person is considered rude, it for some reason is acceptable in the electronic world. The ability to ignore fosters habits of being unprepared for handling the difficult conversations we're bound to have in person. The slang we resort to while communicating over text is also limiting our abilities to hold conversations. As we frequently respond to text with one-word answers or abbreviations, we've started to exhibit similar patterns in person. While the point of texting specifically is to be quick and easy, not all of our face-to-face conversations can be the same. The ability to stimulate conversation and expand it to deeper topics can easily be lost if speech begins to mirror how we text. For example, this will probably sound more familiar to high schoolers in the room, but if a friend were to express how stressed they are by saying, "I have too much on my plate, I'm exhausted," we'd probably respond with something like, "Yeah, same," or "tough," instead of taking the time to share our own experience and empathize with their situation. Being accustomed to the choice of ignoring, tuning out someone else's message, or responding briefly is perhaps what influenced that situation at the family gatherings. Actually speaking to each other would have required two things for texting to not: attention and effort. After getting so used to communicating electronically, the expectations associated with communicating in person seem uncomfortable and difficult to meet, causing us to avoid it as much as we can. Snapchat's impact on in-person communication has been a little different, coming from app-specific features such as streaks and the best friends list. Streaks, which indicate how many consecutive days you and a friend have sent pictures back and forth, have distorted the purpose of speaking to each other. The feeling of stress that comes with knowing a streak is about to expire is what almost all the app's users can relate to, because streaks have taught us that the extent of a friendship is measured by how long a streak has continued. Over time, this number has developed way more significance than it ever should have. While we consider streaks to be so important, they are rarely ever conversations. They're usually just black screens being sent back and forth, and it isn't necessary to open the other person's message. As long as you send one back, the streak will continue. Another main source of motivation for teens to communicate through Snapchat is the best friends list, which has a competitive nature. It shows who use Snapchat the most, and making it on someone else's list while you make it on theirs is an accomplishment. Snapchat will even add an emoji next to that person's name, so you'll know whether you're each other's #1 best friends for 2 weeks, then for 2 months, adding another stamp of approval for Snapchatting the most. Best friends on Snapchat are misleading in the first place. Going back to the previous discussion, Snapchat's rankings tend to be based off of streaks and not actual conversation. Our intentions when starting a conversation should be quite literally to have it, not from knowing we've made an imaginary list that doesn't usually represent the individual's relationships offline. Gratification from communicating communicating with someone should come from the content of the conversation itself, not from knowing where we stand in a comparison of other friendships. Also, actively increasing the gap between how we communicate online and in person is Instagram. Even though this app isn't used for having personal conversations, it does consist of engagement between a user and their followers, mainly in the form of replying to comments. There are two ways to acknowledge a comment you've received on Instagram: replying to it with another one, or liking it, which takes no words. The option of simply liking comments is interesting. It substitutes a simple tap for expressing gratitude, and which, let's be honest, a tap is usually easier to do. Although this gesture may save the time of replying to each comment individually, it does set an unrealistic standard when it comes to similar situations in real life. A simple thumbs up would not be an appropriate response to a compliment received verbally, and it shouldn't be online either. It isn't a surprise that we find it so difficult to express gratitude and accept compliments appropriately when we've gotten so used to the shortcuts online that do those things for us. Instagram also features an unsend option for anything sent via direct messaging. Of course, offline, it is impossible to take back something you've said completely. It can never be erased from people's minds. Being able to overcome or avoid a situation where you do happen to say the wrong thing, though, is an important conversational skill which Instagram is unable to teach us. Features such as these devalue the importance of choosing our words carefully by promoting the idea that nothing said has to be permanent. Noticing the ways our communication skills have shifted as new methods emerge is important, but it doesn't suggest that we should eliminate technology from our lives. That's not only impossible, but also a very poor decision. The harmful effects of technology come from overuse. When used within reason, only its positive potential shows. It has made us extremely intelligent in adapting to new forms of communication, and it often demands useful traits such as wit and humor. Regardless of the advantages and disadvantages of communicating electronically, in-person communication will always be an important skill. So practice talking to people, get together with your friends in person, and challenge yourself to have real conversations with them. Take risks and talk. By putting just some distance between yourself and your phone, you'll notice yourself getting a lot closer to the people